Hello, welcome to the Florida Peanut Podcast. I'm Noah Walker, and in studio joining me today, I'm going to work from your right to left. We have our fearless leader and executive director of the Florida Peanut Federation, Laura Fowler-Goss. Also joining us today, we have Mr. Mason Griffin and Mr. Clay Paulk, both from Triangle Chemicals out of Georgia. And also, who you can't see off screen, we have Miss Liz Maddox, who is their marketing director, and is going to make sure that we say all the right things during this podcast today. So welcome to the Florida Peanut Podcast. Again, I'm Noah Walker. So let's get into it, fellas. How are you today?
Man, we've been doing good, man.
They made a long trip down here.
Yeah,
they did.
To see us and to go to Fishtails on on Friday night.
Nice.
It's been wide open. We're putting a lot of peanuts in the dirt right now. So me and him's been running up the roads pretty hot.
Oh yeah,
This time is
everybody's playing
valuable.
right now.
Thank
so
y'all.
It's been wide open.
Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Mr. Mason, I'm going to ask you, because I know that you, your family's been part of the company for a long time and helped start it. So give us the history of Triangle.
Triangle started in 1947. The Maddox family, there would be, so Trip Maddox is our president right now. It would be his great-grandfather and two other men started Triangle.
Hence the triangle?
Hence the Triangle. Well,
All
not
right.
necessarily.
Oh.
To my understanding, they owned already two other businesses, and this was the third one they started.
Okay.
And it was in the oil business. I'm not for sure exactly what they made, something to do with oil. As I've always told my granddad, he need to write a book on the history of it, but we've still yet to have one. But that's how it started, and then it gradually progressed into formulating chemicals.
Okay.
My granddaddy got involved in the business in, I would say, in the late 50s, because he graduated college in, say, 54. And then about 56 to 58, somewhere in there, he started working for Triangle.
Okay.
And then in the early, say around 60, he bought into Triangle. Mr. Richard Maddox, which would be Tripp's granddaddy, helped my grandfather buy into it.
Nice.
And because my granddaddy, he wasn't scared to talk to anybody. He was selling stuff. When he was a kid, he used to sell bicycles at his dad's store. His brother would, get
Steal
old
them? No.
bicycles. They didn't steal them. But they would get wore out bicycles. His brother would rebuild them, and then he would sell them.
I love it.
So since he was a kid,
I
so
love
he
that.
was a natural salesman. And that's how it all got started. And they used to formulate chemicals for years right there in Macon, ship them out on rail. And then somewhere in the 80s, we started getting into the retail business.
Yeah.
And it's just grown from there. They started out in Georgia. The joke used to be that they'd have a sales meeting and they'd all sit at the same booth at Waffle House.
Those Waffle House booths are narrow.
That was the whole sales force back then. But now we've grown a lot since then. We're in Florida, Mississippi, North Carolina, Georgia.
Good.
We're scattered all over the place. We've got well over 200 people working for the company now.
Well, that's a lot to deal
It's
with.
still a family-owned business. The Griffin still own half, and the Maddox is still on the other half.
I love
We have a lot of
that.
family that all still works in the company. Now, in the last few years, we've had, like our granddaddies and all have passed on.
Yeah.
And we still joke about some of the things we deal with now with as big as we are now, some of the chemicals that we'll have stacked up at times, saying, boy, if my granddaddy could see this,
Yeah.
he'd be scared to death. We'd never sell all this stuff.
Isn't that cool though to have that heritage and think
Oh, yeah.
about
There's-
it like as from what you perceive to be their perception? I think that's really cool.
When you seen it when you hear all the old stories when you were a kid getting told stories of how it all started, how this product got started, the history of it. And my granddaddy once brung the president of Bayer Chemicals.
Yeah.
He was a man from Germany. And the very first place he took him was Holt, Georgia. Holt, Georgia doesn't even have a red light. That is where my granddad was born and raised. That was the very first place he took him, was go down there and go to peanut fields.
Yeah, peanut field.
Yeah, they had a ball, but it was interesting. Got to meet a lot of people.
Cool.
Well, the only thing there's a church.
Yeah, that's all it is, a church and store. It's just a little unincorporated
Wow.
neighborhood.
Wow. What a cool history and to build up to such a good reputation. As long, years and years, like at least 4 or 5 that I've been around here, I've not heard anything bad about Triangle. So good job to you and Papa.
Right, and that's a classic 20th century American success story. So that's awesome.
I really like, those are few and far between anymore. And here's living, breathing examples of the success that did not come easily, I'm sure.
No, there's been some tough years and there's been some great years. There's a lot of ups and downs. The biggest thing is we try to make it as much family as you can.
Yeah,
everybody that works with
special.
us, we consider everybody family.
Nice.
And
There's
that's the only reason why we're still here, is because of everybody that works with us. We got a great team.
That's beautiful.
And having grown as much as you have, it's still family owned and
Still
operated.
family owned, operated.
Rare.
And it makes it a little harder to do it as close knit as we used to get around and see everybody and check in on everybody and all that stuff. But it really is a good group.
Cool.
With that kind of history, what all services and products do you guys offer, and where all do you reach into now?
Well, like I said, the main states we're in is North Carolina, Mississippi, Georgia, and Florida, and then all the surrounding states, we'll ship into those states and everything. But pretty much any crop in the southeast, we touch it somewhere or another with chemical, seed, fertilizer.
Cover up a lot of different crops, especially, down in the southeast, we've about got every vegetable crop, row crop that you can think of. Like I was telling you, I said about everything except almonds, because I guess we don't have any almonds grown over here.
Yeah.
But, you just got to be very diversified as a salesman over here.
Well, but the farmers are diversified.
Yes.
We have
Yes,
to
they
survive
are.
down here.
Yes,
Yeah, so if you're growing, let's put peanuts there as the cornerstone, peanuts and corn and watermelons and beef cattle, or if you have peanuts and carrots and sweet potatoes, or whatever that is, they have to be diversified, and so it just makes sense that when you're building those relationships, it's multifaceted.
And the good thing behind the program is having that rotation. It helps tremendously with the rotation. That's how we make better yields on peanuts, in my opinion.
Basically required, right?
That's right.
Basically required.
So.
Well, you guys also mentioned that you do something else besides your services, products, and your retail locations. You guys also have research plots. Tell me a little bit about that.
Right. We call it this. It's called the Spotlight Resource Trials. That's correct. Okay.
Liz approves.
Liz approves. All right. We call it. Me and Bowen go around, and a bunch of our salesmen or whatever. But we go to some of our main customers, some of our customers that we trust that's going to plant the plot right and do it right and take care of the crop like they're supposed to. But basically what we do, we take what we think's the top varieties with each corn company or soybeans, whatever seed for each company, and we'll take 2 or 3 of their best varieties. What we think's going to do good in Florida, we'll put it in Florida or Georgia or wherever we're at. We'll take those varieties, and we'll probably have 16 varieties. There's one trial that was like 26 varieties in one of them, but we'll take what they think's the top dog, and we'll put these all in a trial, and we'll go at it, and at the end of the year we'll get the yield data off of it, and we'll put everything in a yield data form, and that's what me and Mason, the salesman, will take around to our different farmers and show them, say, hey, in this soil type, this one done good here, this soil type, these done good here. And
what size
this is how we
trial? What size?
Be close to 20 acres.
So you can really
it's a bigger.
Usually an acre per variety. So
Okay.
acre per
Yes,
variety.
pretty much.
Yes, you can really tell
You
the
can get
difference.
a true real world scenario.
I'm just thinking of these peanut men that I know, and if they can see the differences in that corn as it comes on up, I would think that would be seeing is believing, right?
That's right.
So not only is that a feather in your cap for offering it to their place, but also that builds some trust and goodwill with you, and then it also lets them see what's happening. And then these men talk more than I thought they did. These men
talk.
be talking. You talk about beauty salon, Noah. They won't text me back, and they dang sure ain't gonna check their emails.
See them at the
But they
tailgate.
call each other on the telephone.
What's crazy is like I'll be in Moultrie or somewhere talking to a guy, and I'm like, yeah, I was just in Trenton yesterday. He's like, oh, you know old so and so. I talk to him about every other day. I'm like, my goodness.
It's a small world.
So I'm imagining,
yeah.
you know, y'all have your sheet, and you're like, so this is what did well in Trenton, and the guy in Williston or Cross City or even Live Oak says, oh, I know what did good. I like to see it on the paper, but I know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it's real weird when all of a sudden you get a phone call and say, hey, I need so and so seed. Like, how did you even see this seed? It wasn't even out last year. We had it only in plots. It's like, I done heard about it.
Oh yeah. We done heard how this is doing.
So-and-so
So
grew
the
some.
Spotlight,
Yeah.
what's it called, Spotlight?
Resource trials.
Resource. The Spotlight resources are indeed very resourceful,
And
this sounds
it's
like.
not just seed. We're doing it with new products we're trying different mixtures of them.
Because how can you sell it from a paper,
Well,
right?
the worst thing you can do is go to a guy and you sell him something that did not work, or if it works this year but doesn't work next year, it's not
We need to
consistent.
know those
I
type
want it to be consistent. Every year you got to see a yield up.
Yeah.
Because it's like my dad always told me, you can $20 yourself to bankruptcy real fast for me. And, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Somebody told me
You
the
see,
mid
my
20s
family
the new
farm.
5, so that's a lot of goodness right here.
yeah. So,
You know, not only do my family in the chemical business, but we farm, have cattle, and everything. That's what my brother does is run our farm. family farm.
Okay,
And
that
so-
that robustness in the operation really helps you know what you're dealing
Oh, yeah,
with
when I
when
first
you're out
started
there
selling,
with the
my
people.
dad, he told me right off the bat, he said, when I told him, I said, all right, now they've got me selling. He says, well, I'll go ahead and tell you, I'm not doing all them daggum test plots that your granddaddy did for so many years. It's somebody else's turn. I've done my dues.
that is the guinea pig right now.
Now his dad, we've got him trying all
We
that.
try all kind of stuff.
But those trials.
Well, what's good is because I pick the peanuts. I help pick peanuts and cotton or whatever it is, so I can just go get on the equipment. I can see what's going
Yeah.
on. So then you can actually get some data off of it. And you put Daddy on there, he's like, I don't want to do this.
Those trials and refining the process, the products, and the services, really, that's how you guys have grown and really evolved and keep evolving. You
Well,
guys aren't a stagnant company by any means.
Service is everything in our business.
That's awesome.
Number one.
You got to
Number
be
one.
as good a service as you can ask for.
Yep.
And that's what we shoot for every day.
Well, and that's how you build your relationships and your trust with
Right.
your growers. So, I mean, most of our growers trust us because they know when we come and sell them a product, we've done tried it.
Right.
We've done looked at it.
I think that's
Like, hey, if it don't work, I'm not fixing to bring it to you.
Bring it
Yeah,
to
yeah,
you.
yeah.
All that's gonna do is
Long
hurt
as
my
you-
reputation.
I was gonna say, as long
You
as you
know?
want to stay friends.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And I've only been doing this 7 years, but I've seen salesmen come and go like that.
Sure.
So, but
For being a salesman.
being
Yeah.
yeah.
Right? I mean, there's
Yeah,
a difference in
happens
being
a
a
lot.
salesman and
Yeah.
being a person that's helpful to the operation
Right.
via what they can offer.
Right.
Like, that's a humongous difference.
It's all value. It's all value presentation. All right, so let's talk specifically Florida Peanut Federation. You guys have been a sponsor of the Florida Peanut Federation for a long time. Have a long history of that. What do you guys get out of that? What's the value that you guys glean from the Florida Peanut Federation?
Basically, we want to support the peanut growers. I mean, any way, shape or form that we can help the peanut process go further, or the farmer get more money for their peanuts, or as far as the consumer learning more about peanuts, which I think the Federation does an outstanding job with that, Laura.
Thank you.
Props to Laura, but
big props.
and all the Federation. But no, I mean we just want to support the peanut grower, and like I said earlier, if the peanut farmer is not doing good, then
We're not
me
doing
and
good.
him don't have a job.
Yeah.
We're not in business.
And the peanut
So-
farmer is the corn farmer, is the cotton farmer.
Right.
That
So-
is the grass seed farmer. Like, all of this really makes a difference in
Right.
in y'all's business.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just think it's real respectable that you recognize that your money comes from the man doing the growing,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
if it's not good on him, then that
Not
ain't
good
good
on
on
us.
y'all.
Yeah.
And you're not the only ones. Like, that's a whole situation right there.
Get value to gain value. So it's basically been like the story of your company, right? You guys have just been creating value for others, and that's how it's grown. Tell me specifically, what are some of the things that you guys do to help the peanut grower? What are some products? What do you guys do to help the peanut farmer?
Well, I'd probably say our number one product that's been around for
Quite a few years
close
now.
to 15.
Yeah, it's probably.
It's probably Peg Power. Peg Power's been around a long time, and
What a
there's
good name.
pile.
Who named it?
Peg
I don't know. That might have been a Wycliffe.
No. That was after my granddad. That was when we did Peg Power. I had just started with the company. It was one of the sales meetings. I remember when they come up with the name, and we were in Tipton at a sales meeting. Was it Jason Parker
Maybe.
or Todd Ray?
One of them was
I think it was one of them. One of the
I
salesmen.
love the name,
What we did
and I
is
just
we went around
see these pegs literally going into
Oh,
the
yeah.
ground.
We basically had everybody write down a name on a piece of paper, put it in a hat, went through it. We had a lot of fun with it because there were some names that definitely couldn't name it, and then some names that were.
We still
like,
pick
you know,
names like that.
But it's a pretty big product for us because I mean there was a lot of testing behind it. UGA's done 5 years worth of testing with it, so we've got all their data on it. And I mean, we're increasing yields close to 400 pounds over that. I mean, average of 5 years. So that's what we like to see is consistency of increase. So
this power that it brings to the
power.
pig. I mean, is it like
What is the power?
is it like
power.
girth and strength, or is it like
what's going
zoom
on
down
is
into the dirt? I don't know what I'm talking about.
what's going on is when the peanut starts to bloom during that about close to 40 days is when it starts blooming. We'll do 2 applications in between 40 and 75 days of it's a foliar fertilizer which got some hormones in it which makes the peanut plant peg more at the same time.
Oh, that's important.
So it's more blooms and more pegs going in at the same time.
Got it.
So when that happens, when you've got more pegs and the peanut plant is making more peanuts closer at the same
They
time.
grow at the same rate then,
So
right?
then we get to the end of the harvest when we do our peanut blasting. So when we blast our peanuts, the ones where we were seeing a difference, and this is back when, before I worked at Triangle, Daddy was using this product. But basically the peanuts move more closely together across that maturity board and we can harvest more mature peanuts at the same time. So
and
basically
size
that's
equals weight and
grade,
yeah.
yield. I mean, it's like I said, it does the same thing like a snap bean or a cotton plant. Anything that blooms, it makes it more of those bowls or peanuts or snap beans more uniform. It's basically
It'll make a
what
lot
it's
more
doing.
roses. You can actually take like a few ounces of it and spray it on some roses, and you'll have twice as many.
Well.
For sure.
So basically, that's why we try products all the time. We're looking for the next
all the
peg
time
power
looking
or
for something
something
else that works.
So I mean, it's a great ROI for the farmer. So
Most
I
of
mean,
the customers that you all serve that grow peanuts, I mean, would you say a good percent of them
I'd say
use the
majority
power of
my
Peg
peanut
Power
owners that I sell to, every one of them use Peg Power.
across the states?
That we sell to, I would say the majority of them are spraying.
Awesome.
And they've sprayed
Great.
it for years. It's just kind of their go-to.
What was the story Todd had?
I was gonna say,
Todd had a guy or something, some new surfactant guy come by and said, you need to use this surfactant or whatever. Well, ended up didn't mix good in the tank or something, and the man told him, he's like, what's all in you crop mix there or whatever, your tank mix? And he's like, I had Peg Power this, and this, and he's like, I ain't had a problem with it until I added your surfactant. He's like, oh no, you need to take the Peg Power out. And the farmer looked him dead in the eye and he told him, he said, sir, I'll take your surfactant out, that Bravo out, this chemical and this chemical out before I'll take that Peg Power out.
okay.
And, I mean, that was great testimony there.
We need to get that guy on a commercial.
Well, you had another good.
That's the one I want to hear.
I think that everybody should hear.
I heard a snippet of the story that I want to hear the whole thing.
Well, I'm probably gonna get Daddy in trouble if it'll get back around to him, but oh well, whatever. Well, I started working at Triangle 4 years ago, so I was with a competitor company beforehand, but before I even started working there, we were spraying peg power. But soon, I went to work for that competitor, and all of a sudden, we stopped spraying peg power. All of a sudden, well, that was wrong. Mason was selling to my daddy at the time.
Oh.
But we had a pack house that was over close, away from the shop, had a little lock and key to it. Well, it was away from where we actually put the chemicals. Well, what was happening was Mason was loading up the truck when it was time to put out the peg power, and he'd go over there to the pack house and he'd stash it over in there. And, well, when it come time to spray, Daddy'd go spray and he'd get rid of the boxes. Get rid of the evidence.
His dad would tell me, he'd call me, he'd say, all right, it's time for my peg power. You need to come tomorrow between 1 and 3 and drop it off.
Nobody would be there.
Nobody would be there. So, that was the deal we had. Is he said he said none of my youngins need to know because every one of his kids is somewhere on down the line selling chemicals for another company.
Oh
or something.
my
So he's trying to keep peace among the whole family. So I'm in there in the middle of them. I told him, I said, all right, you can buy all that stuff from him, but I got your peg power. He said, all right, I'll still get that from you. He said, because I want that peg power.
Oh my gosh.
So
So
I'd
he's
go by
hiding
and
the
drop
peg power from his kids.
Exactly.
He's hiding his little Debbie's from his wife. I mean, this guy's got a hell of a bonfire burning the evidence.
His little pack house, I'd go by there and I'd throw all the peg power in the pack house and shut the door and put the lock on it and everything. I'm like, man, this feels like a drug that they do, man.
I mean, me and my brother knew the whole time that he was spraying peg power, but I mean, we couldn't say nothing against the product because the product worked. You know, I'm like, it works, and so.
That's
You didn't want him to
hilarious.
look you in there and be like, "I'll take that, and that out of the tank." All of you, not taking the peg power out of there.
My goodness.
Oh my, I love that.
That's a good story.
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun and picked a lot.
That's awesome.
Well, guys, is there anything else that we need to know about Triangle?
I will say that I call, these guys answer, they pay their sponsorship check on time, don't have to do any bill collecting, show up at the banquet, contribute to the fundraiser auction. It's just real nice to have y'all on board, and we're thankful. And this has been a lot of fun today.
Yeah, it has been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed learning about your company. It's an American company. We were saying America before, yeah, America. It's an American owned and operated company. I appreciate you guys making the drive down here to join us for the Florida Peanut Podcast. And Miss Liz too, even though she sat in the corner quietly. We said all the right
She
things.
is not blushing at all right now.
She's the Paulk over there, making sure we don't mess up.
But we appreciate you, and that's been the Florida Peanut Podcast. I'm Noah Walker with All Things Visual Marketing, joined again in studio by fearless leader and executive director Laura Fowler-Goss of the Florida Peanut Federation, Mr. Mason Griffin, Mr. Clay Paulk from Triangle Chemicals, and Miss Liz Maddox, their marketing director in the corner. So we appreciate all of you guys for joining us, and we hope that everybody has a wonderful day.